Hello, everyone, and welcome to Literary Tales. I'm your host, Paul Krause, and in this episode, as we continue our classical conversation with Thucydides, we turn to the idea of Athenian exceptionalism, especially as contained in the famous Funeral Oration of Pericles. Athens was undoubtedly an exceptional polity. The Athenians are evidently aware of this fact within the pages of Thucydides' history. In the speeches leading up to the declaration of war between Athens and Sparta, the Athenian representatives highlight their long and noble history, which had brought them to this moment on the stage of the world. The much-remembered Funeral Oration of Pericles also praises the unique character of Athens. Athens was set apart from the rest, the exception, exceptional. The nature of Athenian exceptionalism is threefold. The first is cunning, the second deals with the military, and the third political. That is, the Athenians believe they have the most ingenious and daring individuals in all of Greece. The military successes in the Persian wars, more than any other city-state, saved Greece. The Athenian regime and political order is also the best in the world. In the disputation with the Spartans, the Athenians give their case, their record. Quote, "This is our record. At Marathon we stood out against the Persians and faced them single-handed. In the later invasion, when we were unable to meet the enemy on land," a reference to Thermopylae, "we and all our people took to our ships and joined in the Battle of Salamis. It was this battle that prevented the Persians from sailing against the Peloponnese and destroying the cities one by one." The Athenians do two things in their opening statement in the declaration of war between the Spartans and the Athenians, both of which slight the Spartans. Unlike Thermopylae, where the Spartans needed the help of other Greeks to stall the Persians, the Athenians stood alone at Marathon and achieved the decisive land victory of the First Persian War, which thwarted the Persian invasion in 490 BC. Additionally, it was the Athenians who contributed the most to the victory at Salamis that put the Persian invasion to flight in the Second Persian War and ultimately the battle that saved Greece. Extrapolating further, the more decisive battle at Salamis, and historians are universally agreed that it was the battle at sea that was more important than Thermopylae, the Athenian representatives state, "The fate of Greece depended on her navy. Now we contributed to this result in three important ways. We produced most of the ships, we provided the most intelligent of the generals, and we displayed the most unflinching courage. Out of 400 ships, nearly 2/3 were ours. The commander was Themistocles, who was mainly responsible for the battle being fought in the straits," thus highlighting Themistocles' superior intelligence to the other Greek officers. "And this obviously," the Athenians say, "is what saved us." Again, the Athenians are emphasizing their leadership role at the Battle of Salamis, in which the fate of all of Greece was at stake, and that it was this great naval battle in which nearly 2/3 of all the Greek ships were present that saved Greece. Moreover, the Greek admiral was of Athenian stock. In other words, the survival of Greece owed more to the Athenians than to any other Greek polity. Concerning the empire that Athens suddenly found herself in possession of after having saved Greece from Persian invasion, they note that this empire was not acquired by conquest. Though this masked the intentions of the Athenians for a grander empire, nevertheless the acquisition of this international order was not because the Athenians had conquered it, as the despotic empires of the East had. Rather, they gained this empire by the mutual defense of their fellow Greeks. As they say, "We did not gain this empire by force. It came to us at a time when you were unwilling to fight on to the end against the Persians, And at this time, our allies came to us on their own accord and begged us to lead them. Part of the exceptionalism of Athens is that their empire defies historical norms. It was not constructed by conquest, but by kind, generous defense. Moreover, the justness of the Athenian Empire is rooted in the fact that the other Greek city-states aligned with them and begged Athens to lead. Athens was, in essence, appointed by democratic consent to be the leader of the new Delian imperial order, which Athens, in her just kindness, agreed to. The Athenians didn't need to agree to this, nor did the Athenians ask for the burden of leadership in fighting off the Persians. It just happened. It was an accident, the exception of history, that Athens came to possess an empire unique in the annals of all the history of the world, one that came about by saving others instead of conquering others. If the exceptionalism of Athens in the disputation with the Spartans leading to the formal declarations of war was not enough, the famous Funeral Oration of Pericles further spells out the so-called exceptionalism of Athens. What followed from Pericles should sound familiar to many readers today, especially Americans. Pericles begins by maintaining the Athenian political order is unique in the world, one that is not found anywhere else. Quote, Athens does not copy the institutions of their neighbors, he says. Furthermore, he continues, everyone is equal before the law. Athens stands out as a light in the darkness of the polities of the world and even Greece. She is the only city-state that has constructed a political order different than the monarchical and oligarchic systems of other city-states. Hers is the solely and purely democratic and egalitarian polity in Greece, and therefore the whole world. As Pericles continues to say, our constitution is called a democracy because power is in the hands not of a minority, but of the whole people. Eulogizing Athens further, Pericles goes on to link democracy with meritocracy. What counts is not membership of a particular class, but the actual ability which the man possesses. Where other polities have their structured positions based on class, in Athens, again making her a notable exception, the functional organs of the democratic government are found in the actual ability which the man possesses, according to Pericles. The Proto-Liberalism of Athens is even further elaborated later in the speech when Pericles boldly declares, no one, so long as he has it in him to be of service to the state, is kept in political obscurity because of poverty. And just as our political life is free and open, so is our day-to-day life in our relations with others. We do not get into a state with our next-door neighbor if he enjoys himself in his own way, nor do we give him the kind of black looks which, though they do no real harm, still hurt people's feelings. According to Pericles, Athenian tolerance extends to the fact that all free men are tolerant in their private lives, and that all keep the public affairs underneath the law. They do not give scorning looks to make others feel uncomfortable. Whatever individuals do in the comfort of their own private lives, the Athenians allow. Pericles is also counting on the exceptionalism of the Athenian order in its liberty, equality, and meritocracy to call her citizens to virtue in this time of need, to defend this unique polity which affords the people so much liberty, freedom, merit, and equality. Athens allows her citizens unique private liberties, but these private liberties are tempered by the public law, and the public law in this time of war is threatened. Athens then divides her makeup into the spheres of the public life and the private life, neither impose upon each other, but according to Pericles, all Athenians recognize this great separation of different lives and spheres in the Athenian state, which is now threatened by the war. Pericles also notes that the openness of Athens is also a great exception. Then the greatness of our city brings it about that all the good things from all over the world flow into us, so that to us it seems just as natural to enjoy foreign goods as our own local products, and we have no periodic deportations. Athens does so much for the world and also brings back many foreign goods and products for her citizens to enjoy. This is something remarkably exceptional within all of the city-states of Greece. Returning briefly to the geopolitical underpinning of Thucydides, we see yet again that a maritime polity by its nature is open and not closed, i.e., it is moved towards a promotion of internationalism instead of isolationism, precisely because of its maritime reality. Pericles closes his funeral oration, of course, to the dead heroes of Athens by saying, "What I would prefer is that you should fix your eyes every day on the greatness of Athens as she really is, and should fall in love with her. When you realize her greatness, then reflect that what her greatness was men with the spirit of adventure, men who knew their duty, men who were ashamed to stand below a certain standard." The exceptionalism of Athens, then, is multifaceted. Athens and the Athenian Empire emerged not from conquest, but by defense. The Athenian political order and constitution is unique. It is the only democratic, egalitarian, and meritocratic constitutional order in the world. Athens is the city open to the world, which brings benefits to the world and returns to her citizens the unique gifts of foreign lands. Moreover, the Athenians understand their duty. They would be ashamed to fall below a certain standard. Athenian greatness, Pericles articulates, is founded on the fact that Athens is truly unique in the world. For these reasons, people should fall in love with Athens and come to defend her in her hour of need. I do not wish to discuss the reality of what is claimed here. Rather, we must understand what is being claimed by the Athenians through these periodic dialogues within Thucydides' History of the Peloponnesian War. From Pericles' oration and from the debates leading up to the war, Athens saw herself as exceptional because she was the exception to all the rules of history. Her empire was born from defense and the protection of others against a tyrannizing empire, the Persians. Her war contributions in the defense of Greece was greater than all the other city-states. Athens and her citizens enjoy an unparalleled wealth and freedom, unlike the rest of the city-states of Greece and any other political polity in the world. Athens respected the public-private divide in life, and when threatened, calls upon her citizens to do their public duty to save this exceptional political order. One wonders, for all the talk of the United States being the new Rome, whether or not the United States is actually the new Athens.